Hello and welcome to a rather croaky episode of An Echo of Glory. It's like a doctor's waiting room in here. I'm the croaky Johnny Blaine. Joining me, also croaky Jake Robson.
Never croaky, mate.
But you've got all your reporter, you've got your special stuff there.
It's just honey and lemon.
Yeah, that's special
and
stuff.
Ginger. Don't forget the ginger.
Right, I didn't know about the ginger.
I feel fine, so...
No, I feel
no
fine.
bugs in this room.
I wish I could say I've got some sort of Ellen Road lurgy where I've been singing Kudus is on fire for 2 hours.
Drinking last night.
I wasn't. I was hosting a charity quiz, which raised a lot of money for a really great charity, so that was good. And my voice has just gone. So I'm going to try and speak really loudly. Adam Nathan, how's your voice?
My voice is rock solid. We should be good to go. Don't worry. Well, we'll carry. Well, like, you can be the Human Sun in Bilbao.
Yeah.
And we will be your team that carries you to glory.
Who carried us in Bilbao?
Back four.
Yeah. Big Mick, Romero,
Udogi, Van der Ven.
Yeah.
Basuma and Bentancur are all right. Well, I mean, they're all our lovely boys.
They're
all our lovely boys.
They're all legends. All right. You've been working
Absolutely.
on what?
Is the Pope a Catholic?
Yeah.
Is he? Is there such thing as a weekend in sport?
No.
No. It's when the sport happens. Formula One yesterday. Crystal Palace on Friday.
What, training?
Press conference.
So you reporting on? I think sports I can't listen to on the radio. Tennis. Like I can't understand what's going on. You're kind of just waiting for the cheers to know whether Andy Murray's won the point or the other person.
But must be one of the hardest to comment.
Really hard. Can't hear Jake very well.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Turn me up.
He's only been doing this 5 years.
Thank you.
You might all regret it when it comes out with some of his stuff about the game.
Right, should we start again? I mean, not literally. Is it working now? Jake, can you speak?
Yeah, 1, 2, hello. Sound engineer. Put a touch.
I can
more.
I can be an alibi for Jake being at work yesterday because I was listening to TalkSport on my way
In
to
case
work.
no one believed me.
And
Right.
and Sam Matavez kept panning to Jake Robson to give thrilling updates on
Driving around in
motorway
circles.
driving. Yeah.
I have to pull you up on that. He didn't pan to me.
Sorry, what's your industry term?
Through to me.
Through to you. Sorry.
Panning to me would be a camera term suggesting I was sat next to him and the camera then pans.
Like Brick and Anchorman.
Sure.
Fine. Okay.
But anyway.
So you were commentating on people going around the M25. I got a funny story about that. I'm not going to name the player, but I once got told about a footballer that back in the 90s was late for training at a certain London football club, and when he missed training on the Monday, his first day at the club, and someone said to him, "Where were you?" And he said, "I missed the turning on the M25 and had to go all the way around." So I don't know if that's true, but that's
All the way.
That's basically Formula
Bloody
One.
hell.
All right, so that's what you've been doing. Good weekend, Dad. Before we come to all the important bits.
Yeah. Plenty of work. All good. Can't complain at all.
Good. Right. Club news. Last week, they all won apart from the men's team. This week, we have a full set. The 18s didn't play, but they would have won if they were going to play. The women beat... I've written down Everton here. It wasn't Everton. It was Brighton. 1-0. Kathinka Tamberg scoring again. They're up to third.
They both wear blue.
They both wear blue. They're up to third. Doing all right. But as always, they'll come up against the better teams and will probably get beat. But they're doing okay. The 21s played Newcastle yesterday afternoon, which is quite a rare time for a 21s game. I'm wondering, because they went to Norway as well, that game got moved. They won. They beat Newcastle, I think, 4-1. A couple more goals for Luca Williams-Barnett, who last week signed his first professional contract. Made his senior debut against Doncaster, so an amazing week for him. Any other news before we come on to the seniors?
Not out of Hotspur way.
If you sign that contract at 17, you have to sign another one at 18. Is that right? I think that contract's only a 1 year. So like he's locked in to a point. I think there would still. I think the next contract, the one that Mikey Moore just signed before going to Rangers, whatever people want to say about how he's getting on at the moment, that was the one that secured him at the club. I think
that reminds me a couple of things. Tyrese Hall scored again, and some great reports coming out of Germany on Luka Vuskovic. Best young centre half in the world, sort of stuff. But we've been here before. But it looks like
Have we?
Well, just with Spurs players, when Mikey Moore dribbles past someone, it's he's the new Yamal, but he's not having a great time. Maybe they suck Russell Martin, so maybe it will change up there.
How old is Mikey Moore?
18.
So you mean the 18-year-old loanee who's gone on loan to a club that have just sacked their manager 5 weeks into the season isn't having the best of time?
Yeah. Oh, yes. And as Will says...
Should we tear up his contract?
Yes. Jan Minyuk scored again. He scored 2 goals in a week. Both similar goals. I don't know if you've seen them. Ball coming in from the right and a Korean winger smacking it into the far corner.
Everywhere you look, it's just coming up Tottenham, isn't it?
Where have I seen that before? All right. The senior team went up the M1 and came back with 3 points. And here's the lineup, if I press these buttons in the right order. In goal, Big Vic. We're going to talk about him again.
Oh, thrilling.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Your mate Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bentancur, Palhinha the Progressor, Kudus, Simmons, Odebear, and Tell. As I will always ask, any issues? Oh, I'm happy with that, with the lineup.
I suppose we all want to see more of Bergvall and Sarr in some capacity. I don't think Bentancur is on a particularly good run of form, although Saturday was probably his best game for a few. So fair enough for that.
Should have mentioned new contract for him.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I think it was probably the team. Obviously, Tell, Richarlison. There's interchangeable little bits, but from a structural standpoint, Simmons was in the 10.
Yes.
You had a left-footed left back.
Yeah.
Porro was at right back. It was the back 5 that you would have expected. Palhinha was playing. It was probably about as happy as you could be with a team, given there are certain constraints that the manager's got with rotation and injuries that he has to adhere to.
Yeah, so we learned that obviously Solanke has had an operation, not going to see him probably November.
Ever.
Kolo Muani is still out with the deadest leg in football history. But we then learn he's been training for 10 days and he's got another 2 weeks before the next game. So I'm sure he'll be back on in the squad for Villa.
Did he have any pre-season?
I'm not even convinced he was training with PSG. He wasn't in their squad for the Super Cup final.
So maybe it's just a way of saying, because against Villarreal, he did not look like this rapid, powerful striker we were expecting to sign, did he?
He must have been way off it.
Maybe it's just an easy way to say the guy needs
time.
Train.
Yeah. But, okay, so we were limited in centre-forward options. It was either Richarlison or Tell. He went with Tell, Jake. Thoughts when you saw the lineup?
Tell and Odebear, and I'm thinking... This is good. I want to see this.
This is good, but also is this not? This is your time to shine.
Yeah, exactly that. This is why it's good, because we haven't seen enough of either of it, especially Tell. Odebear started. Was this his second start? Maybe his third start in the Premier League. He started one game that
started away at Brighton.
Brighton, yes. And I'm thinking he deserves the opportunity as much as anybody to play on the left, because I don't think anyone is really clamouring to be the left starter. So give him another game. Give Tell a game starting, because I don't like this coming on for 20 minutes. Let's see, win us the game, mate. Go, no, it's difficult. Young players away at Leeds. We're not away at Arsenal. We're not away at whoever. Leeds is fine. Go out there, show us what you can do. And I'm happy with that. And I think it's a toss up between Richarlison playing and Tell playing in that situation. And the rest of the side. Yeah, I think João Palhinha is going to start in all our big games.
Absolutely,
I think away at Leeds, you can't take chances everywhere on the pitch. Simmons has to play in the 10 for me every time. And then, if he plays Bentancur, he plays Sarr, plays Bergvall behind, I'm not going to get that exercised about it. But I do think he sees João Palhinha and Bentancur as his favoured two in the, whatever you want to call it, the 6 and the 8 or the 2 6s. As I said when I was on last time, if we play Arsenal away tomorrow, those two are definitely starting. And I think now Simmons is as well.
Sarr had a great start to the season. Didn't start in Bodo.
Did
he start against Bodo?
Did he not play centre
he was
midfield?
poor against Bodo.
He did start against Bodo.
He's not started, I think, the last couple of Premier League games.
He also had a knock, didn't he, though?
Yeah, but every time I look at that, listen, my thoughts on Bentancur, I love him, but I get it. He's not, since the injuries, he really hasn't been the same player. I look at Palhinha and Bentancur, and I love Palhinha. Someone just said on Twitter, don't fall in love with a lone player. And
that's true.
That's before he takes his shirt off.
He won't be a lone player for long.
No, I don't think so. We will sign him, whether it's January or next summer. just a little worried about legs in midfield with Paulinho and Bentancur.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the game where you needed it.
Yeah.
It was a game where being solid and just keeping it all ticking over was probably more important. Like Longstaff and Ampadu and Stack were never going to be the team that were sort of running in straight lines through you or even passing it around us, like which actually Bournemouth and Wolves did quite well. Those are probably the games where you might want a Sarr and a Bergvall that can just be intercepting passing lines. One thing that really struck me against Wolves was, yes, we were probably outnumbered, but they were just knocking triangles around us.
Yeah.
And the two of them looked laboured. So I think it was probably the right team to pick overall for an away game like that.
What are your thoughts on Bentancur? I'm too biased on the situation. He was getting a lot of stick on Twitter during the game. I actually thought he played okay. It's such a key position. Are you like, yeah, I like the guy, but really, why is he signing a new contract? We need to upgrade.
I thought he punctuated a really good performance with two terrible moments, both of which led to chances for Leeds, and it's hard to escape.
Yeah.
Because the mistakes that he made, particularly the one for Calvert-Lewin in the first half where he dallies on the ball, like that's not a mistake that we're used to seeing that sort of mistake from him. Like you don't mind if a player makes a mistake that feels like a complete aberration. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about Vicario quite soon. The way in which Vicario let that goal in was indicative of why we are nervous about him.
Yep.
And the way Bentancur gave that chance up was exactly what everyone's fears are over him. So that does feel like quite a big black mark against his name. But I thought he played really well otherwise. You know, really well involved for the first goal. Good in the air, like for what we needed on Saturday. And I'm sure we're going to get into the more macro idea of how you're supposed to win games, how you're supposed to play games.
Yeah.
I thought he was the right selection and probably justified the performance overall.
Adam Flanagan says Bentancur is a strange one. On current form, I'd have him earmarked to be sold in the summer, but I don't think we should be losing him on a free. I don't think they've given him a new contract to get money for him next year. Basuma will be first out the door. Other than that, yeah, you're not selling Sarr, you're not selling Bergvall, so he's probably here to stay. Someone posted only yesterday, I think, where's this Bentancur gone?
I saw that.
All
That
those
made
little
me
twists
sad.
and turns.
Yeah.
It's the injuries, isn't it?
Must be.
But if he trusts Paulinho, Bentancur to be the one next to Paulinho, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know where we're at in terms of making those kind of assumptions. We're only 6 Premier League games in. We've played two games in Europe. We're staring down the barrel of a 60-game season. Come March, the business end, when we're hopefully pushing...
When you start looking at the table.
When you start looking at the table, will Bentancur, and Paulinho will still, if he's fit, will Bentancur be the one alongside him? I don't know. I know what you were saying about Sarr playing. I still think come the end of the season, the amount of games that they've played, Sarr and Bentancur will probably be quite similar. I don't necessarily, just because Bentancur is the man now, I don't necessarily think that come the end of the season he will be. Unless he gets back near to somewhere near to...
That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. 23 minutes in, 8 minutes after his first touch, I was working on the game, and I'm fascinated by that centre forward not touching the ball anyway into the modern game. But Spurs centre forwards certainly at the moment, and Tell took 15 minutes for his first touch. Not a criticism necessarily of him, but of the way we're playing, but also our centre forwards just don't seem to be involved in the game enough. Anyway, the aforementioned Bentancur nicks the ball to Kudus, plays it through, and he surprised me because I thought he'd blown the chance by waiting, and then he smacks it, deflection FC 1-0. We know, and James Robbins will tell us ad nauseum, that Tell's got a strike on him. We've seen it his under 21 goals. You go on his YouTube, he can hit a ball, but you've really got to get him into the position, and he's got to get himself into the position to strike the ball. But delighted for the lad.
Yeah, I've been trying to work out how to frame this without it coming across like a ridiculous statement to make, but most of them are, so I'll try anyway. The way in which Tell gets to goal, and the way in which you can imagine him scoring his goals, and the way in which he moves and strikes the ball, he's obviously not even 1% of what Son was as a player for Spurs. But from a trait standpoint, Son is the kind of player that if you were watching that in a black and white was sort of all blurry, and I'd seen Spurs score that goal, I would have thought it would be Son.
Okay.
Sort of that run into the channel, having basically not been involved as a number 9 at all, but being put through and having that strike. And towards the end of the game, Richarlison was not in a hugely dissimilar position. I think he dallied and won us a corner. And I do find Tell quite an alluring prospect as a player and what he can do. And the way in which he plays, I can imagine him coming off the left, coming inside and smacking it. And I can imagine him getting to the byline and drilling the ball back across. So, yes, I don't think he's... please God, he can be half the player that Son was for us. But the way in which he plays from a trait standpoint, I can see that as kind of a, not like for like, but they're trying to use him in a similar way that Son would have been used as a 9 and maybe as an inside left.
Do you think he's do you think he fancies him as a 9, or he will get his chance on the left? It's still an audition for the left, and he's going to get his chance.
I think Richarlison had to have a rest, and it was sort of...
So when Solanke and potentially Colin Mawani, we don't know if he'll play or where he'll play. I mean, look, it's good to have an option, but I don't know where I see him.
We've got to think when everyone's fit,
yeah,
he's in the queue for the left.
Yeah, I think so.
Because at best, he's going to be behind Solanke and Colin Mawani and probably Richarlison. He's going to be fourth choice number 9, isn't he? Unless he suddenly goes on a run of scoring 8 in 10 or something.
When he was at Bayern and you heard his name, French under-21, Matisse Tell at Bayern, he was like, wow. Then we signed him. I'd never watched him play, watched his reels. Like, this is a player. He's still a bit Bambi on ice, but I was really pleased for him to score on Saturday.
He's also still very young.
He's very young. He's had a difficult season. He got left out of Champions League squad. Then they had that, went on the under-21 game, which was postponed. He's barely played any football.
He's 20.
Yeah, and I was thinking back about the Doncaster game when he missed those 2 chances, or certainly that sitter that he missed. And then I think he had a header that he missed. Well, at least he's getting into those positions. He had the header that hit the bar.
I actually thought that was a more impressive moment, the fact that he got himself there to do that.
Well, he's a big lad.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm still wary. Maybe there is a player there, but really needs refining. I know he's 19, 20.
No, he's 20, not 19, 20.
He's 20.
I'm telling you now, he's 20.
He's 19
He
until
was
he's
born
20.
in 1920.
Yeah, there's a player there.
I think the other thing is about Frank, and having seen it last couple of seasons, people like Kevin Schade, people like Mikkel Damsgaard, Frank likes working with young players, and he has a proven track record of making young players better and realising the potential that is there. So I'm not that worried yet. Give him this season. I want to see where he gets to. I want to see where Odeberg gets to as 2 for sure. Because we saw plenty of Lucas Bergvall last season and what he can do.
Yeah.
I think someone like Odeberg and Tell are going to get more opportunities maybe than Bergvall this season because of that hole that we have on the left. It's still up for grabs, isn't it? It's anyone's position. Whereas I think Bergvall is going to struggle maybe to hold down a regular place if everyone's fit. You look at Tell and Bergvall and you go look at Tell and Odeberg and go, come on boys, which one of you wants it? And I think Frank could be, perfect to bring that out of them.
Will asks, who starts 9 against Villa? Considering Richie's form and Colin Mawani's fitness, I'll give it to Tell. Well, Richie will go off to wherever with Brazil.
Yeah, you know where they're going?
I don't.
Asia.
Oh, they got a couple of friendlies.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's any better or worse.
Well,
it's better than Bolivia away. Where they all come off needing oxygen, which I think I need right now. Listen, we'll talk about Villa next week, but I would say Richarlison in a game like that.
And I would have Tell as the left winger.
Well, okay, so I was going to ask you. We've talked about Tell's audition. He passed it, I think, on Saturday, no doubt. Odeberg?
I just don't...
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
He definitely raises the floor of the team versus Johnson on the left side because he can just about keep the ball. His relationship with the doggy has not been bad. Like, they do intertwine.
Yeah, they do, actually.
Moderately well.
Well, he knows the position more than Johnson at least.
But I just think you're scraping the barrel to find the barest minimum requirements from Odeberg, and he obviously has talent, but I just don't think that's going to realise itself as a Premier League player just now. And another thing that I think we really miss by having him on the left is, if you could think back to last year, particularly in the Europa League, the Madison run against Boda and Eintracht, where you've got Romero and Porro that can play that ball over the top. Odeberg offers you absolutely no threat going that way over the top for a long pass. And I think if you don't keep the defence honest by having someone that can do that, you just bunch it up, and which makes it harder again for Simmons to pick up space. Whereas if you've got, in my ideal position, you've got Tell that starts sort of on the left flank running out to in to take a centre-back with him, and the ball drops to Simmons in 10-15 yards of space. That just seems like a more structured way to play, particularly as you've got Porro and Romero on the right who have the capability to play that long pass. I think we're losing quite a big element of what we can do to stretch games.
I think you're right, and the more I think about it, the more I think he does like Tell. I mean, the Champions League squad maybe changes that, but he had to make a decision, and someone had to sit out, and we've got a lot of forwards. I think you're right.
I think that's all it came down
to.
The thing I don't get about Odegaard is that he came as this really fancy dribbler. And he had all the good dribbling stats, didn't he? And we were thinking just what we need.
But it's like what Ad's saying. We don't get into those positions really.
He's had the ball a couple of times, and he hasn't. And you're thinking,
go on.
This is what you. Yeah. I brought it up over the summer at some point when he came. Wasn't he like under 21? He had the most successful dribbles or something like that.
But they were in the Championship, weren't they?
Yeah, but I imagine that's partly why we signed him. But just at least have a go. I mean, I know we've complained a lot about Johnson always going back. You're thinking Odegaard actually got that.
Although in the Prem they've been relegated, as Stephen said. Whatever, I barely noticed him.
I think he'd be better either as a 10 or on the right, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get. I don't see it.
No,
I'm trying.
Yeah,
but I just don't really know what. Yeah. Like, what's the best version of Odegaard that you can imagine as a player comparison?
Well, he's not Aaron Lennon. You'd want him to be Aaron Lennon.
He's not Martinelli. Like for that,
because he's a goal scorer.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes and think of the best he could possibly be, what are you getting out of him? I just don't really see it.
Don't know. Will says Mitoma. I think Mitoma's craftier and clever.
Quicker, isn't he, as well? It's just...
Odegaard's quick. And you notice they always leave him back on the halfway line.
This is what I don't understand.
No, you see him chasing when we get...
Yeah,
give them all the way from the
Aaron
corner.
Lennon last man, isn't he, from corners?
Yeah, Willem Corsten, says Stephen.
I mean, just sign Mitoma. Just do that. Turn Odegaard, sell Odegaard, sign Mitoma.
Odegaard's the kind of guy Brighton would sign.
And then you actually have Mitoma. Yeah, you don't have to worry about Odegaard. You actually have the Mitoma. That'd be great.
One thing I forgot to do in club news, breaking news, the whole spiel about how to become a member of this pod is dead. You can now become a member of this pod on your phone. We are so massive that I got a message from YouTube on our YouTube studio channel that tells me now you can just become a member by clicking on your phone.
And if you listen to that, that is the stampede of people running to their phones to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
James isn't able to keep up with the number of members that we're going to add in the next 5 minutes.
As I always say, don't know if this is working, if I'm pressing the right button. Look, you know about this. You can win this. You got to be a member. It's a Mickey Van der Ven shirt. Hurry up and get on with it. It's going to be given away before Christmas. You can do it from your phone.
Can you hear that?
All I can hear is these buttons in my head, just people thumping their buttons. It's mad.
Yeah, he's absolutely
After
mad.
Forest, we're giving it away. You weren't here last week when we discussed it.
After Forest. Okay, like December the 3rd, that Forest game or something?
Somewhere like, mid-December.
Oh, mid-December.
See, I knew that because you didn't listen back then.
No. He sent a message to a great show as well. Great show. So he's not even listened to the shows that he's not on. Okay.
From his ivory tower.
No alibi for you, but I've got one for him from the weekend. One for you.
Right, and then Leeds equalised.
Here we go.
That was a load of rubbish. I'm sorry. We had Paul Robinson on Friday. By the way, there's more to come from Paul Robinson this week. We had a chat with him. Me and Ad had a chat with him about his Spurs career, about all sorts of stuff, and about Vicario. It's rubbish. He parried out the ball for the Wolves goal, and it hit Palhinha, and it went in. Did this take a deflection? Is there any excuse for him? He got his hands all wrong, and he touches it to Okafor, who taps it in. Yes, he made a couple of good saves later on. Certainly the Calvert-Lewin save, I thought was a really good save with his feet. The one in injury time, again, Paul Robinson was on our channel, and he went, that's a really good save. He's parried it out. He actually didn't. He sort of parried it midway, and thankfully Udogie was there and headed it out for a corner. There were two Leeds players either side of Udogie. That wasn't parried out. He's becoming a worry.
So you're disagreeing with Paul Robinson?
Yeah, I am. What does he know about goalkeeping? He's becoming a worry for me. I can imagine
He's well past that, let's be honest.
Yeah, I imagine just like Arsenal fans just don't worry about Raya and City fans now just not worried about Donnarumma. Yeah, we had this conversation 3 weeks ago, and everyone's doing it on social media. Let's have this conversation. An Echo of Glory got there first, as they always do. It's a problem. I haven't asked you. You haven't been on when we've talked about Vicario.
For a start, I'm sorry, but it did take a deflection. And if you're asking, I think you know the answer. And I think
That's why I asked. Well, I don't know the answer.
Yeah, but you don't. But the worst.
There's deflections all the time.
Yeah, but
they train for that. They do some amazing drills.
Yeah, but I think if it takes a deflection, the first thing to do is just to make sure if you can, it doesn't go in the goal, and then I think you worry about where the ball ends up afterwards. And it was a deflection from quite close range as well. The deflection wasn't. He didn't have much time to react, to change where he was stood or his body position once the ball got deflected.
Jake, I'm taking my son to his goalkeeping course this evening. If he did that and his hands all in the wrong place and he pushed it out to the oncoming 10-year-old centre forward, I'd have a problem. I
think at a time when there's a lot of conversation and a lot of noise around you, the last thing you want is a shot that gets deflected like that. I mean, you're just damned if you do and damned if you don't. You're absolutely stuffed either way. I'm 100% prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt for Saturday. I think a couple of saves he made. There was one he made late on as well, wasn't there?
No, that's the one I was saying. I still don't think I think he's got an issue at the moment with pushing stuff out far enough. He's keeping the opposition in the game when he's parrying stuff.
I think there was I also think the goal after. Who did we play on the late game? Wolves. That was another one that was like, you can't really put that on the goalkeeper.
Why?
Because that one was much worse for me than Saturday. Well, the Wolves one was much worse. He got a clear sight of it and just pushed it for no reason.
I actually think Leeds was worse because Wolves was a busy penalty area from a corner.
I think that took a bit. But I mean, enough of a deflection on Saturday to be tricky.
And also
not good, but tricky.
I think I was sort of saying with the Wolves one. Yeah, okay. There's obviously a reason why he's parrying it rather than pushing it, but then he literally parried it straight into the Wolves player and it just bounced off him into the goal. I mean, how unlucky is that? You're going to parry it away. You've got to get really unlucky to knock it straight off the guy. I mean, the guy didn't even. If he parries it into, I can't remember who the Wolves player was, but if he parries it into him and the guy has to take a touch, Vicario might get it again against Wolves. But he literally went like that and it's bounced off the guy and straight in the goal. I mean, how's your luck? When,
one of the Bueno twins. No, it hit Paulinho.
It hit Paulinho. I mean, how's your luck when things are going against you?
I think he's playing nervous. Mark Stewart-Wakely, who was at the game and mentions there was a good old-fashioned dust-up. Leeds away is just a proper away day. Leeds should just be in the Prem. He also said, good to hear you on Sunday on the F1.
Another alibi.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark Stewart-Wakely.
I don't know. I'm not here. This is not a Vicario out. This is I've got my eye on you, Vic. I worry, and he's possibly feeling it too.
I think that's the problem. I think we need to get behind him. The noise needs to calm down. We've got no one else to come in unless you want to see Kinski play.
I'll get behind him. Don't need any more people in front of him.
I think. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm behind him. I don't want Kinski starting yet.
Yeah, but it's not. There's a lot of noise on social media, and he will be aware of it. And I think with your goalie, unless you've got somebody like a clamour to get the other guy in, like we had in remember the World Cup in 2010, and Rob Green played, and it was like, why isn't Joe Hart playing? First thing, he literally chucks one in.
Well, we didn't see it, did we? Because ITV
cut it out. But you know, it's Vic or no one. So we've got to get behind the guy. It's going to be nervous the next time he's on the ball against Villa. When the ball goes back to him, everyone's going to be shitting themselves.
It probably doesn't help him that he is very demonstrative. I think he takes the leadership role that he has at the club quite seriously. I think he does care about the club quite deeply, actually. Maybe I'm being completely naive and it's all for show, but because he is that very emotional, outward, shouty keeper, you can't really do that if you're also making mistakes.
Yeah.
And so people will then get annoyed at him, like, why are you waving your arms around if you can't keep the ball out your net? But the flip side of the key, how many times did Lloris just stand there like a nothing when the ball, ball's going flying past him, not motivating his team? It's a bit of a catch-22 for Vicario because he's obviously trying to get the team going, be a leader, but if you're not doing your job, it looks a bit daft.
Yeah. All right. Half-time comes and goes. They had a big chance with Calvert-Lewin, which was a really good save from Vicario. And then 2-1, Mohamed Kudus. We haven't talked too much about him. We've given him his props when it's been required. He's been excellent. What a player. I know West Ham didn't want him anymore. You know, they were done with him. They're too good for that. And he's going to go on strike next year and all that sort of stuff.
It costs us a fortune as well.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. I know. But one thing, again, like I was working, like I said, on the game
Would
on
they have him
Saturday.
back?
No, they don't need him.
No.
Don't need him. Don't need him. How strong he is. 18 duels in that game, which was the most attempted. Obviously, he's getting pushed around. He won 10 of them. There was a moment in the second half, I think just after the goal, where he just shrugged off 3 Leeds players. Great goal, another deflection FC, deflection again, ole, all of that sort of stuff. But he done the keeper anyway. If it goes through Strike's legs, it's going in anyway. I wish we had a Kudus on the left, but we don't. But what a signing.
What a signing. He's ticked all the boxes. How many assists is that now already?
4.
4 assists, and he got his first Premier League goal. I just don't know. I always say, you have to pay the premium for a player with Premier League experience and potentially one that's a little bit older. So
I think 55 is cheap.
Fine. But all I mean is I just don't think we've done that enough over the years.
Yeah.
Age and Premier League experience, I think, count for so much.
Yeah.
He's basically come in and he's hit the ground running. I mean, it helps also, I don't even know if he's had to move house. I mean, and these are big things that people don't think about. You know, he was at West Ham, Tottenham, same city, you know. It just matters. It makes such a difference. And he's come in, literally, from that first game, we were like, wow, he put in those 2, one cross, the shift and the cross for Richie's first or second, I can't remember what it was. Both. Yeah, but the one that he went down the right, it was just and he's been fantastic. Well, I don't know. There's nothing more you can say. West Ham must be so pleased they let him leave.
Top player.
Yeah, and actually the goal is the kind of thing I wish he would do more of, which is, there's a lot of times, I've said this a couple of weeks ago, where he sort of got past the line of defence, but almost tracks back or checks back inside, which lets a few people go. I don't mind him just running at them, and if he loses it a couple of times, you don't mind your wingers losing the ball if they're being, you know, aggressive. I think that he could be more aggressive on the ball. I think at times it's almost a bit too safe. So hopefully, I don't know if he was looking for a goal. It doesn't look like a guy who's lacking in confidence, but that sort of driving at the box and getting a shot away. I mean, he nearly scored a cracker against Brighton, also deflection again. It just went over the bar, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say about the guy? I mean, you just in the same ways I was with Kulusevski last year, I'm just sort of praying for those hamstrings.
Well, I was about to say, of all the rotation that's going on, he's playing nearly every minute.
Yeah, he didn't play against Doncaster and Boda for an hour.
In the Prem, he's the one, isn't he? Yeah,
but that's fine. I would 100% back Frank to not allow that to happen.
Well, he's going to go to Ghana. He's going to play probably. He's going to start both games. They've got
but you can't rest players because they're
no,
going
of
to play
course.
for...
Well, I'm just saying he's going to go. He's going to play both games. They're about to qualify. They got a couple of big games. He talked about them post game.
I watched him. I followed in the last World Cup. I was following Ghana, and he was like their kind of up and coming star. And I hadn't barely seen him play. Hadn't heard much about him. But all the Ghana fans were like, "Kudus is the man. Kudus is the man." And they weren't a very good team. But you could tell that he was the player that really had that something in that team, which probably wasn't that hard. But
now,
and he was so young then as well. This was what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and now when he got the move, so he wasn't at West Ham, and he got the move to West Ham, and I'm thinking, West Ham were the ones to kind of take the chance on this guy that they were all talking about.
Well, where were we? But yeah,
sort of. That was I did wonder perhaps if he was as good as some of the Ghana people were saying. Why didn't maybe somebody else? But obviously that was the stepping stone, and we've seen what's happened.
Maybe he's big mates with Semenyo, and we've got ourselves our left winger.
Semenyo didn't even. So Semenyo's a funny one. Semenyo wasn't even in the side in the World Cup because. He was
at Bristol City.
He was at Bristol City. He was in the squad, but I'm saying he wasn't first choice. They had Jordan
two sub ups at the World Cup.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm not lying.
I know you're not.
They had Jordan Ayew up top with I think Inaki Williams, and Semenyo was probably their second or third choice off the bench. And yeah, that sort of young, but you're seeing sort of journeyman sort of career even at that young age. And now he's the best player in Premier League this season.
Semenyo by far,
yeah,
been absolutely amazing. Stephen Bruton talks about the Simmons Rabona. That was stupid, but let's talk about Xavi Simmons. In the 10, clearly his position. Frank said post-game, I liked Xavi in the 10. I was like, come on, mate. You knew that was his position. I likened him to Modric a couple of weeks ago. He's obviously not Modric, but the way when he gets the ball and moves it past players, when he dribbles past players in the centre of the pitch, reminds me a little bit of Modric. He, at one point, took out 2, maybe 3 Leeds players with a change of direction. Couple of lovely passes, one to a doggy in the first half.
That was brilliant.
The little flick to Porro. The Porro one was an incredible bit of craft. The doggy pass was a simple pass, but not everyone sees it.
It was the shift to take it.
Shift, and it was the way.
Because the easy pass was in front of the
Correct.
defender. He managed to shift it to behind, and that's literally why you pay your money.
Yeah, exactly. It's his vision. It's the weight of the pass. He can just do something else. Yeah, we want him to score. He's really had a chance. He's had a couple of shots. He's had times where he's been in the position to shoot and he hasn't. But without wanting to sound too much like Harry Redknapp, top player.
He's a Triffitt family man.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I hope he's still getting up to the pace, because there's times where I want an extra half yard of pace from him on the ball. There are a couple of times where I thought he was away from their midfield and they sort of got back in, but I'm really nitpicking at what was obviously a really, really good performance, an impressive performance. But I might have to touch at some point on some of the fan reaction in general to the game.
Yeah,
but I saw someone saying, I cannot believe it's taken Frank this long to play him as a 10.
10 games.
It's been 3 league games.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's unreasonable that, you're looking at these issues that Wirtz is having, who looks absolute cart horse to my eyes, to be honest. So far. But these players that come from lesser leagues, and they are lesser leagues, whatever you want to say, particularly physically, it's not unreasonable to just put them out on the left and just let them get settled and get a couple of assists from corners. I think the way in which Frank has handled Simmons so far has been really good. And September's a tricky month because you're off the back of one international break, integrating players that you sign in the window, which you only get a couple of days, 7 games you've had this month or whatever. I think it's been really good. And towards the end, to sign off this month, and you do look at these international breaks as sort of chunks of games, to sign it off with a good away win with the system that we hope we're going to play, and Simmons looking the part, I think is really, really good management so far.
The Rabona was a poor choice and a poor execution, but you want that player, don't you? The thought process. He knows he can do it, and it's got a bit of magic. I mean, you want that.
There's a difference between someone like him doing it and I don't know who.
Paulinho.
Yeah. Well, no, I was thinking of someone like Lamela, apart from when he scored. But when Lamela tried it, you're like, come on, mate, just stop. Whereas Xavi Simmons, you're like, all right, fair enough.
Lamela bashed one into the top corner.
Yeah, apart from that one. But he's got it. You know he's got it.
Didn't he score against Arsenal with it as well?
He's
bad choice.
He's got it in his lot. Yeah, okay, but Lamela, the point I'm trying to make is someone who's a bit of a big time Charlie. Whereas Xavi Simmons, he's just quality, isn't he? He's just absolute class. He's got it in his locker. If he wants to keep doing Rabonas, I don't care, because most of the time it's going to work. The only thing I was thinking about this old left through the centre thing, Frank may well have seen him as a left winger for us. I know he's played the majority of his games. He's played more games, I think, as a 10 than any other, but he's played quite a lot on the left. I think he's played for Holland a bit on the left. Maybe he's still, as you said, 3 Premier League games, he's still finding out about the guy. People forget that we didn't sign him over the summer. He wasn't here for pre-season. He came basically at the end of the window. He's been here a month, and some of that was with the national team. Frank hasn't seen that much of him. Yeah. So he's still learning.
Also, I think if he is on the left and Sarr or Bergvall are playing as a 10, that makes his role a lot harder than if he was on the left with a Maddison or a Kulusevski, that you can almost become like a 2 in there behind the striker, and having someone to dovetail with on the same wavelength. If you're the 10, you're the one that gets to dictate it. So if you can dictate and you've got Simmons outside you, that might actually make that left side of him work better.
If everyone's fit, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I don't
if Maddison and or Kulusevski are fit, you want them to play, and you want Simmons to play if you can.
Where does Kulusevski come in? By the way? Where does Kulusevski come in? We've got Kudus, who's brilliant.
Oh, 10.
10.
Yeah, 100%.
Then we've got 3 10s.
But Maddison's not around this season. So if Kulusevski's fit, and you've got a front 3 or a midfield 3 of Simmons, Kulusevski and Kudus, That's much better than Simmons in the 10 and then an other on the left.
Yeah.
Isn't it? In a big game.
A cut and shut just for the sake of it.
Absolutely.
A message from Christian Ibsen, who I don't think has been on before, so hello. I don't think Siemens' problem is pace. He clearly waits for defenders to go near him, giving space to others. Yeah, Jermaine Defoe pointed this out on our show. Siemens is great at finding little pockets, drawing players to him, and creating space for others. Overall, any other business from the game?
Does he bring that stool with him everywhere
That
he goes?
can't be his stall, because he can't be...
No way.
He kept moving it from half to half based on where, after Wolves
Anyone
turned us round, he's not going
anyone
down
that
there
thinks
moving
that's
it.
his stool.
Yeah.
But it was a funny story. And what a celeb.
Stephen Bruton subs, bit negative too early. Yeah, okay. I've actually got this in my notes, Stephen. It feels like Frank declared after 75 minutes. I want to see Tottenham Hotspur go and get a third. Is that? Am I being harsh?
I thought Simmons' race was run.
You did.
At that point. And I think if you're going to take him off, considering how good he was at retaining the ball up the pitch, I don't think it was that silly logic to put two guys up there, give yourself a third defender and maybe progressible with the wing-backs.
I've got to do my Blackburn two-guy joke. Every time you say two-guy, I have to mention it.
Well, we have got Paul Robinson coming up again on Wednesday.
Huh?
Middlesbrough?
Blackburn, Middlesbrough. Was he at Middlesbrough?
I think so.
Was he?
Yeah.
Don't think he was.
No, it was Mendieta played for both, didn't he? I think.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I didn't think it was. And actually, when the subs were made, I realised that apart from Spence, it was the same 11 we had on the pitch that played against Paris, who were brilliant. It was Sarr in the 10 behind Kudus and Richarlison.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad way to see the game out. Although he didn't do the first changes were Richarlison and Sarr, weren't they, for the two forwards, and then Danso came on for Odobert, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Danso came on for Odobert, yes.
So the first
Sarr came on for Tell.
Sarr and Richarlison came on for Tell
together.
and
Simmons.
Simmons.
And what time in the game was that?
74.
And then Danso was what, 81, 82?
85.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, Richarlison came on.
I'm sorry, but I'm all for these kind of substitutions. Poch, I remember crying out, Poch, just lock the game up, and he never used to like to do it. Yeah. And I think that's good. Look at what Arteta does. If they're winning, just seal it off. We're not Manchester City in 2017 or 2018. You want us to go and get the third goal. Well, somebody last season liked to do that, and we got stung.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had like a tactics cam where you watch these games or people are looking at the shape, but I couldn't tell from the
He's got
TV,
people doing that for him.
with the TV copy. But did they, because they brought on a couple of extra forwards, and I thought Calvert-Lewin was going off. They said he was going off, but he didn't. And I wonder if maybe we, just from a numbers standpoint, we had to bring on the extra defender just to match them up. Considering their
Possibly.
only route to goal was going to be a ball coming from 100 yards.
On that, Romero, for that last chance at Vicario Park, Romero pushed Dancer out of the way and didn't win it. If you're pushing Big Kev out of the way, who's probably going to win that, Romero, you have to win it. Because you left a big gap, which they nearly exploited.
Also, negative substitutions. He's brought on Sarr, essentially, to replace Xavi Simons. What would have been slightly less negative? What, to bring on Bergvall instead?
Someone mentioned Isak here, didn't look fit. Liverpool were drawing 1-1 in a big game. Where a draw would have been all right, but they needed to win it. So many managers take off their best players.
It's so dumb.
It drives me mad. Siemens was having a good game. Just leave him on the pitch. Like,
yeah, but you want him to play.
I don't think he could run.
Season
I thought
anymore.
Kudus was done and stayed on.
But at least Kudus, might win you a free kick. Simmons, when his race is run, is probably not going to be that influential at ball retention or set piece winning.
Yeah,
proper football, man. It's a different game now, though. 60 games. You want players to stay the course. They look at their data and their numbers and their running stats and red zones and. Further down the line, he's thinking, but I need him fit for this game.
I just want him on the pitch because I love watching him.
I don't have a problem with taking off attackers to bring on more defensively minded players when you're winning 2-1.
I think it just shows your attitude for the last 15 minutes, and that will get
it
Leeds
does.
up.
But Mourinho was a master at this for years, and I know it's not 2005, but you knew that if you a goal down to a Mourinho side with 15 minutes to go. He's bringing on the defenders. He's bringing on, and you're fucked, basically. Sorry for, for
You
want
just
of a
done
better
our
word.
algorithm.
I think
But Arsenal are similar to that now. And that's one of their USPs. And what do you need to be a really good side? You need to be able to defend Leeds, something that we have not been able to.
We did defend
Leeds. So what was our drop points from winning positions last year? It was shocking.
million.
Shocking.
A million.
Almost as bad as Fulham. So I'm all for it.
It's
And if you want, last thing, and if you want anything different, you want Thomas Frank as you don't want Thomas Frank as your
Look,
manager.
it's one of those things that it will cost us points at some point because it always costs you eventually. There will be a game where we're 2-1 up away from home
Yeah,
and we'll draw
we'll get
2-2.
bitten, yeah.
And the flip side of being okay with it now is that we can't moan about it when it happens.
Listen, I totally
And it's one of those things that
Totally.
you can only look
Yeah.
at the outcome
Yeah.
as
100%.
justification. So I'm not going to moan about it when it costs us 2 points at some point because you hope that if it gains you 10, it loses you 2,
Yeah.
you're 8 points up on the deal.
Yeah,
Look, we've
good deal.
gone to Ellen Road. I know they're unbeaten in a year at home. A lot of that's in the Championship, but Ellen Road is a difficult place to go.
yeah.
It's 12:30. It's pissing down with rain. We've been in the Arctic Circle 2 days. We
Yeah.
travelled after playing Wolves. It's been a horrible week to be a professional footballer at Tottenham Hotspur. Really, I don't care how much money they get. That's difficult.
Good for the air miles.
We're 2 points light. We're 2 points light on the week somewhere overall, but finishing it up with the win in the last game,
Brilliant.
you look at it as an overall, good week.
Brilliant. To go there and win with all that considered, brilliant. Look, I always think that Tottenham Hotspur should be beating Leeds United now, not in the 90s, another team that we never used to beat. But now Tottenham Hotspur should be beating Leeds United. But all things considered, that was a brilliant result. I had a message from a Leeds fan last night. Interested to know Spurs fans' perspective on this week. Awful in midweek, he's talking about Bodo, and marginally edged a Leeds team, this is for you, Adam, that had more chances, big chances, and possession. Basically XG. Who cares? We got the 3 points.
Have we got any tissues for the tears? Do they provide? It's just I've seen loads of this. Like I saw a Leeds journalist saying how sad that £1 billion squad in your £1 billion stadium had to resort to time wasting against Leeds. Just piss off.
Yeah.
Just go away. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like I just think. Congratulations, you actually now get 1.5 points for that Leeds fan after that tweet. You now have more points in the table. Just go away.
Listen, that's a Leeds team that's much better than the team that came up last time. Look, Newcastle haven't won there. Bournemouth haven't won there. Yeah, FC's just said the same. That's great. What I will say is that I think you learn a lot about a team's mentality away from home. You learn a lot more about a team's ability at home. I'm still concerned about home performances. Not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a chance against Villa, a Villa team that have clicked into gear a little bit, albeit they beat Fulham and Burnley at home. Villa should be doing that every week, really. It's great. We're unbeaten away from home, 3 wins and a draw. Got to start finding a way at home. For me personally, before I can be like, right, I get this now. This is great. Home performances have really frustrated me.
You're talking, essentially Bournemouth and Wolves, right?
Villarreal,
yeah. Villarreal, though, you just got to get the job done, I think. I don't know. I think that I'm excited. I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm excited to see how we get on in these bigger games now because we beat City
That's it, really.
in a funny way of playing, but an effective way of playing. I want to see what this new Thomas Frank side is about. Let's face it.
This is it. Exactly. I think we know away from home. At home, I don't know what we are.
But also the other problem or issue or thing that's overlooked as ever is that we are, how many games we played at all comps this season? 11. We're 11 games into a new dawn, a new era, a new manager, new players, plenty, the ones that the important ones, no Kulusevski, no Maddison. So we've got Xavi Simmons, who's played 3 games. He's played twice in the 10. We've got Kudus, who's moved clubs. We sort of don't really have a left winger. Solanke's injured. I think we're still. Fans don't like to hear this, but we're still finding our feet, and I think that we have to accept that to an extent. And there's going to be bumps along the way. I think Bournemouth was a classic example of a team that is still being put together and a manager that's still trying to work things out. And everyone, quite rightly, wanted a change over the summer, but the expectations have to be. We still only lost 1 game. Apart from the PSG game.
We drew that game.
We drew that game.
Thank you.
What are the expectations? We're not going to win every game this season, and we're going to have some games, especially like Bournemouth, where we are shocking. But I think that's got to be expected when you're trying to basically start from scratch.
Yeah, in theory, the hardest period of a manager's tenure up until the final knockings, when they eventually get sacked, because everyone does, should be the start, right? So the fact that we are able to navigate it while still, we're third in the table. Didn't realise that.
Unbeaten in 7, best run for 2 years.
But I think
to
people
the
are
fact that
complaining.
we're cobbling through the hardest part of a managerial reign with so many injuries and still picking up points. I don't really think you can ask an awful lot more than that.
No, I'm not complaining.
I know you're not, but I'm saying as a general,
sort of is.
There was so much moaning online on Saturday. Oh, we won, but at what cost? We can't keep getting away with this. Just like I feel like there's a lot of people seem to see how the game plays out on their FIFA game when they can just knock it about and win 6-0. But it's Leeds away in the rain at lunchtime. That immediately, it's like you're never going to go to Selhurst Park and play well because of the pitch and the atmosphere. It's just not possible. It's just one of those games. You go in, you win, you go home. Thanks very much. And that used to happen and no one used to talk about it ever again. You'd be like, thank you very much for my 3 points. On to next week. But now it's like these post-mortems on wins.
Oh, totally.
It's miserable.
Totally. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying about...
Because of people like us.
Yeah. You're the problem.
Well, it's not podcasting and all of the analysis around
games
you're
right.
is part of why that happens. And XG, whether you like it or not, will always lead to these kind of discussions because people go, well, we either didn't deserve it or we should have done better.
The eye test is better for
me. But
me.
if the keeper drops a ball in front of Okafor a yard out, I don't know what that must be 0.86 XG. But that's not been generated.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like they.
No, I'm saying it's a problem, and that's why we end up where we are.
Farker was saying that their XG was better. Well, obviously, Vicario dropped the ball a yard out.
Yeah,
like that's going to completely.
And both of our goals came from outside the box.
Yeah, because we signed players of cumulative 90 million quid that can whack a ball in from 20 yards. That's the whole point of the game.
Yeah. All I was saying was that's great. Tottenham Hotspur, in my history, in my life, have not been great away from home.
I don't think we've ever won an away game in my life.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first away.
That's the first away game in 32 years that we've won.
Right. Listen, I pay X amount of money for my season ticket. I have to schlep up those. My son counted the stairs the other week, 80-something stairs, to watch us faff about against Wolves, Villarreal, and Bournemouth. I want to see more at home, and I think he's still trying to work out a way to play at home. Simmons in the 10 on it is probably a way of winning home games. So maybe it's all just starting to click.
It has to. I mean, we said it. He has to play Simmons in the 10 at home to Villa.
Yeah.
Against Villa, I'd like to see Palhinha, Bergvall, and then Tell on the left, Simmons at 10, Kudus right.
Say again, Palhinha, Bergvall, not Sarr.
No, I think Bergvall's more progressive ball carrier. And then I'd have Tell, Simmons, and Kudus behind Richarlison.
Yeah, I think that's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
A knackered Richarlison who's had to fly to Asia and back, but
But apparently the game's on Tuesday and we're playing Sunday.
It is.
So it shouldn't be.
They play South Korea and then Japan.
So a Sonny Richarlison get together.
Rendezvous.
Yeah. All right. Overall, first 11 games, how are we feeling?
8 out of 10, I would say. I think we're really hamstrung by the injuries. And, you keep hoping with Spurs that the injuries will clear up. I mean, obviously that never happens. But if we can clear them up to a point where can we get Solanke on the pitch in October? Can we get Kulusevski back before the new year? Can Muani play a few games? I think you'll just look at that bench.
Gosh, that'd be nice.
Well, you'll just look you'll look at the bench and think, well, that just looks a lot better. And if you've got, because right now I don't think we've got 16 players that you really want to see on the pitch. And that, it's a squad game, as they say. You do want to have the position where you can look at 5 subs and think, that won't make us worse, that won't make us worse. And that's where we're struggling a bit right now. So if we can get some forward players back, that will make it a huge difference.
Jake?
Well, we haven't for a long time, that I can remember, had a team where in certain positions there's a debate as to who should play. And in midfield, we've got that. Whether different people have their opinions on who should play in midfield. And that, I think, is a good thing. And I don't think it's because they've been bad, those players. So you're like, well, pick the best of a bad bunch. Obviously, Palhinha plays, but the fact that I think people could make an argument for Bergvall, for Sarr, and maybe slightly less for Bentancur, which I think is strong. The injuries, I think, is a massive problem. Conversely, on the left wing, I think it's like, who's going to play? Whoever isn't the worst.
Yeah.
I think 8 out of 10, definitely. We're third in the Premier League. We've lost one game all season to a Bournemouth team who, as we've seen, are pretty good. I know we were crap that day, but Bournemouth, the loss to Bournemouth is looking better and better by the week. We've gone away, done a job on City, who, let's face it, have actually been quite good this season. So haven't they? Okay, they were ridiculous. People getting way over the top about their Wolves performance. Then they played us, and then they've kind of recovered a bit after that.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
So actually, I think that win is looking better and better by the week as well. And we've dealt with the crap teams. We've smacked West Ham.
But these are all away from home, which is why I'm giving him a 7.5.
I was going to say we did a job on Leeds. The Wolves game wasn't very good. I don't really count the Villarreal game, and we put Burnley to the sword on the opening day. I think Villarreal, our first game back in the Champions League, Frank's first game in Europe as a manager. Xavi Simmons, was it his second start?
Yeah.
In the Premier League, or since moving in Europe, there's still a lot of moving parts here, and I think a game against Villarreal, you get the best result you can, and you move on.
Look, Will says it. We're third. We've only played 2 top half teams. Ryan says our fixtures in November will give us a clear indication. I'm giving him a 7.5. I've said it twice already. Home performances frustrated me. I absolutely love the mentality. 2 things that became clear to me this week. Robbo interviewed Vicario pitchside on Saturday, and I know they have to say things like this, but
before or after the game?
Before. Last 2 Spurs goalkeepers to win a trophy, talking to each other. He talked about the open door policy for Frank, like what a guy he is. You can talk to him about anything, just such a lovely guy. And Kudus said the same thing post-match on the Premier League channel. Just maybe they said this about Ange.
They did.
But I feel... But then we've seen James Holland and Thomas Broich, who both said he's not your mate. Like he'll respect you and you'll like him, but he ain't going out for a beer with you. But Thomas, I don't know. They're different. It's a 7.5 for me. Can we just talk about Ange? No. But I'm going to shock you here. My thoughts on Ange have been made clear for a long time. Certainly on Thursday, when they lost at home to Midtjylland, I felt, on a human level, I feel for this geezer. I don't think he's a good manager. This isn't going to work. He'll probably get the sack in the international break because Marinakis is a lunatic. 6-7 games. Really? They're calling for his head 5.5 games in. The fans are singing for him to be sacked halfway through the Midtjylland game.
How do you change it without time, though?
Well, that's...
Like, the stupidest thing imaginable was them appointing a manager to change their system so much. But actually, the more stupid thing was him taking that job. From a profile standpoint, it was never a fit. And look, maybe he will shock the world again and revolutionise that team. But it doesn't look great right now. And particularly with him being in Europe, it feels like a bad job to take. Like Amorim has the opportunity to at least have a week between games to... try and improve the team and work on stuff. We know that if you're in Europe, you're not working on a lot in the week.
He said we've barely had any training sessions.
And that's not going to change.
Yeah.
At least he can't get injured in training.
Well, they're already getting injured.
I think he couldn't believe his luck.
Probably.
And I think there is a connection there, a Greek connection there also with Marinakis.
You all stick together.
Exactly. I just think that you're right. To go in from a team that was playing Nuno ball to try and... to think that would be a good idea.
And I suppose there is a hubris with all these people that are at the top of your game. That you think
can do it.
You just assume that you're great. And I don't blame
he
him
certainly
for that.
Does.
Yeah, and look, that's fine. And to be honest, that's why some people reach the top. And he has reached the top, and fair play to him for doing that. And he's worked his way up, and there'll be a level of confidence in his own performance
for
that
sure.
he can do it.
Well,
but
he's also won everywhere he's gone.
Yeah, but from the outside looking in, who said at the time, this looks good? No one.
I mean, Forest had the second best defence in the league last year, or at least they did until the final few games. But that defence of Murillo, Milenkovic, Williams, and Aina before he got injured and the Sells in goal was like impenetrable at times.
Yeah.
And you're like taking on a manager who doesn't
care for defending.
But I said to you when it happened, like, he's not going in with any goodwill to start with. When he came to Spurs, we were quite optimistic and we were looking forward to seeing. I know 2 Forest fans, and both of them are livid.
Same.
So if you're starting off from that base where the fans are almost looking to dig you out from the start, you're hiding to nothing.
Yeah. All right. My voice is, I think, done. I need some of your...
I've got one more for you, though.
Go on.
Can we talk about Ivan Toney?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I meant to a couple of people. A link to Ivan Toney, obviously, it's an easy link. Are we really going to have Richarlison, Solanke, Kole Muani and Toney?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, yes, please. It's not very Tottenham, is it?
A motivated and hungry to get in the England squad, Ivan Toney, playing under his old manager, Thomas Frank, that turned him from a championship former Peterborough striker.
Brilliant, don't get me wrong.
Into a player that basically every club wanted to sign.
Listen, Richarlison came on against Leeds
for half a season.
You're bringing Toney on. He's holding that ball up. He's causing a problem.
He's heading it in. He's knocking.
I'd love Ivan Toney as our probably main centre forward, not just a backup loan for 6 months.
Loan with an obligation to buy. Yes, please.
Could you see that happening? Maybe Kole
I can't see it happen.
Has come in as a winger. Maybe we don't want him, and he's just going to go back.
Well, yeah, can his loan be cancelled?
That's not going to happen.
But I think that's the only way that it might. If Muani is playing really well, then there'd be no need to go after Toney because he covers the gap that Toney would hypothetically fill. If it doesn't work for Muani, then maybe you do try and get Toney and you can send him back.
Or you just don't play him.
Or you sell, or Richarlison gets sold because he's not playing that much.
I can't sell Bissouma.
I know, but maybe Richarlison would look at 6 months in Saudi Arabia before the World Cup. If he's not playing and he wants to get... the World Cup will focus a lot of players' minds in January. And I think if you're ever going to see players move, obviously we didn't have that with 2022 because it was a Winter World Cup. So, but you don't have
players slowing down almost.
You don't have this clamour where players need to put 5 months of tape on to show that they are going to be assets for their team. So I wonder if you might see a bit more of that. And if Solanke does come back... I've forgotten what the guy looks like, to be honest, and plays and starts every week. Is Richarlison going to get, a bit itchy about wanting to leave?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd love Richarlison just to be great.
There's roadworks all over the place for traffic cones. They're all looking for them.
Okay. Next week, Stephen Bruton says, I hope you've got a show next week. We do. No idea what we're going to talk about. We'll preview Villa. We'll come up with something. To talk about. Okay.
Favourite Spurs days or something like that.
That's what Mikey Raw Riz Toddador is having a pop that a few of us have gone on about Richarlison. I'm entitled not to like a player. I love his attitude, and I'm always pleased when he scores, as I am any Spurs player. I just don't think he's good enough. I look at Everton and they got those 2 useless strikers up front.
Oh, he's not as bad as them.
No. Barry and Beto. Sounds like a double act. Go like
plumbers.
Yeah. Someone said to me, an Everton fan said to me, we need a striker. I'm like, well, I've got one you can have. Like, perfect fit for Everton. Tottenham Hotspur, I think, could just and should do better. Toney would be an instant upgrade for me on Richarlison.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
He says here that Richarlison didn't get the service. For me, when the ball goes long, you watch Toney. He's marking the centre half because he wants to be involved. Richarlison is not an involved centre forward. He comes alive in the penalty area.
There was one moment where we had the ball sort of towards their area, and then it came back, and then Vicario played a long ball.
Yes.
And both him and Johnson were offside.
Yeah.
And at one point where you really need to be in the game under pressure, they were
moment that sticks in
walking
my
back,
head.
and I absolutely lost it.
Yeah. Just on Johnson, is he done with Johnson?
I think he's done. Well, I don't know if he's done with him, but it's a long way back.
Mikey's still going on. We're the problem. I'm entitled not to think a player is any good.
I think with Richarlison, we compare him or we look at him through the wrong lens. I mean, he is a backup striker. He should be a backup striker for us who comes on and plays in, when you need to rotate. He is, unfortunately for him, had too much time as the only fit striker, not only this season, but he had it, did he have it in Ange's first season when, or we didn't have a proper striker, so he was the man. It's like, all those years when we couldn't sign a backup for Kane, if Richarlison was that number 2 then, we'd have been happy.
Yep.
The problem is he shouldn't be our number 1 striker, and that's what he's having to be too much of the time. And his goal return recently has been quite
not
good.
Bad.
Yeah, but so if that was a goal return of a number 2, you'd be like, absolutely. But unfortunately, I think there's too much pressure on him.
Jake, I feel everything has to fall into place for Richarlison to score.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I don't think necessarily he's not good enough to be our number 1 striker, but that's the role he's having to play at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I got a notification on my phone that Spurs had scored a goal and I wasn't watching the game, I would hope it was Richarlison that scored it.
Yes.
You know, like you would, I hope it's Sonny, I hope it's Kane. Like, Richarlison is that player.
Yeah.
I really, really like the guy. But I'm not, as I said, I'm also not going to criticise him for not being able to do what we know he can't do.
Yeah.
But he's not good enough at this stage.
Yeah. All right. Done.
Dunsky.
Calling time on this episode. Thank you all for being here. The producer is telling me to hurry up. Am I pressing the button or are you?
Well, go on, you show me if you know how to do it.
I'm going to press the button. We'll see you next week. And up the Spurs.